Welcome back, everyone. Watch more football. This is our 30th episode of the show so far. If you've been watching us all this time, Rich, thank you very much. Maybe even Bali or anybody else, or Ryan's dad, who watched. I assume. Wait a minute, does your dad watch, Ryan? No, he doesn't. He doesn't. Right? Okay, that's just
he doesn't watch, but yeah, he's trying to take over the project.
Definitely disqualified from the league. Anyway, you're watching.
He might watch this one, but we'll see.
You're watching us on the Genreverse Sports YouTube channel. We are part of the Genreverse family. So while you're on here, why not take a little look over there if you're interested in entertainment news, interviews, loads of reactions, and if written content is more your thing for that type of content, then why not try lrmonline.com and some of the stories you will find written by yours truly, Cam Clark. I'm here as always with Dave, Ryan, and Mick, and producer Kyle, who as we see in a moment, joins in from time to time, even though he has absolutely no interest in the game of soccer/football whatsoever.
Evidently, he knows more than we do, though.
Yeah, I mean, and then it's probably
just
worth just getting straight into that. It is worth pointing out that we have got a Euros League. I can join this. The details are on the YouTube video. Oh, and by the way, we're also on Spotify now. I don't know if you guys knew that, but we're on Spotify now.
Hey.
All right. I bet we'll get more views. We don't have to look at our ugly faces anymore.
Yeah.
Well, there is that. There is the
just have to listen to Cam's voice
thing that we show.
That's
they
true,
won't get to see the funny thumbnails. They won't get to see, like my background video of a Scottish plane, which is key. Anyway,
it's already landed. It's landed in Edinburgh.
See, I mean, that's why the transport just isn't as bad in Scotland as it is down in England, because we always come home early. So, your train's always there early, your plane's always there early. It's different from England where things are late.
Anyway, don't take any notice of your songs.
On to the Predictions League. We have been, as I said, the details are online if anybody wants to join in with that. You've missed a few match days, but you could just cheat
catch
like
up,
Ryan's dad did and just catch back up if you want. As for the league and how it's going at the moment, Kel will bring it up on the screen at the moment. He'll be very pleased to bring it up on the screen at the moment because he is currently top of the league.
Look at that
smug
face.
A very strange scoring system. Look at that.
I need to actually put money on some of this stuff. I keep not doing that, and I need to.
That's when it goes wrong, though. So.
That's true.
That's
true.
And
just look at
if
Mick.
you do start doing that, and then you lose all your money, please don't come back and say it's you guys and that soccer podcast. I would never have started gambling if it wasn't for that. You lulled me into a false sense of security by how shit you were compared to me.
Ruined my family, ruined my marriage. It's all to hell. Yeah. Fuck football.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the league is interesting at the moment in terms of Kyle is doing very well and missed 2 games as well. Myself and Kyle. It's my fault, to be fair, because I should really remind Kyle, and the guys did remind me that I should be predicting games, and I just completely ignored the chat or missed that bit of the chat and was looking at transfer rumours instead or something like that, and just completely lost it. And then the only time I thought about it for the first time was after the games were played last night, and that's when I messaged Kel to say, we've missed 2 games.
You could say that, or you could say you took one for the team to try and bring Kyle down with you because
I would have
it's getting too good.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go with that.
Damn, vicious.
If that works,
Can't believe you did that. I thought we were Star Wars buddies. Cam, what the hell, man?
Yeah, but Star Wars people
man, I never liked
anymore,
you,
do
man. Well, I mean, that's true.
We know what happens in Star Wars.
A civil war is going on.
What kind of Star Wars person are you? That's the question we ask now. It's like a civil war. With a gun in your hand. What kind of Star Wars fan are you? Anyway, on to football. I mean, the only thing I would say is I was definitely, and no one will believe me, I was definitely going to pick the exact Scotland result because I thought, what's the worst possible thing that could happen? Because that's always my viewpoint with Scotland. It's what is the worst thing that could happen? Now, theoretically, if we just drew the game and didn't win, we could have still got through on a 2 points, but remarkably could have still got through potentially, depending on other results. So for me, it was, Hungary will be crap, and then they'll score in the last 10 minutes and win 1-0. It wasn't the last 10 minutes. It was nearly the last kick of the game, but it absolutely did happen. Did you all watch the game last night?
Yeah, it was beautiful.
I watched the last 10 minutes. I was like, Scotland are playing well, aren't they? And then I just googled when Hungary scored.
The last bit.
They felt like pieces in the box every time they got near it.
It was.
I thought we were poor.
It was an interesting dilemma for picking which match to watch last night, because you got two good teams with nothing to play for, and you got two crap teams with everything to play for. And actually, the two crap teams were just crap for 90 minutes, and then finally decided to have a go.
To be fair, though, Scotland should have had a pen. For me, they should have had a pen.
Yeah.
They should have, yeah.
I don't know.
He's kicked the back of his leg.
I don't think it's as clear-cut as the media are making it out to be.
He's went for it, yes, but he's blatantly kneed the back of his leg. It's a penalty.
I think if it had been Man United at Old Trafford, it's a penalty all day long. I think if it had been Liverpool at Anfield, it's a penalty all day long.
I agree.
But if it had been Bolton away at Old Trafford, it's one of those ones where you'd have the Premier League refs arguing that he stepped into him and that there wasn't a natural movement. And
you're trying to say you're on par with Bolton.
That's being generous.
Do honestly, that's
Spain has scored.
Generous. Yeah, I mean, you could certainly say if we were comparing ourselves to club teams, we have never been a Premier League team apart from when we were the second. We were literally the same time the first ever international team, because England and Scotland played each other. That was the first ever international game at football. So at that point, I guess we were in Premier League international teams. But ever since then, we've not really been at that level. It was just really, really disappointing to see them have a go, but just they weren't good enough for me. The final third, just no chances created, and when we did push for that at the end, it was clear that the reason we hadn't been doing that is because all we could do was sit back and defend and control midfield a little bit against a poor team like Hungary, but we couldn't do the third bit as well. And as soon as we tried to do the third bit, the defence fell apart and Hungary just went up and part the score.
I think as well before that, you had a few decent openings in the box, but the decision making and the final ball and just the attacking instinct was just not there at all.
I mean, attacking instinct, I think, is a very good thing to say. I don't think it was necessarily final ball. It was just that people froze when it came to them in advantageous positions. It was like the ball would come to somebody and you'd be like, take it out your feet, shoot. Simple stuff that you would teach kids to do. Take it out your feet and have a bang at it. And there would be that split second where you could see the brain freeze and go, oh, this is a potential, situation of attack. I don't know what to do here. And by the time they had made the decision, it was too late to do anything with it. And that happened quite a few times. And I don't know how you account for that, really, because these are maybe not the top quality, but they're still professional football players that play football every day and are better than any of us. And some of those chances, I would like to think, I would have done something better with than what they did.
And they qualified from being really intense, really in your face, and taking the chances when they got them. They beat Spain doing that, and then it just sort of didn't happen. The other thing as well is Che Adams. How he played the bulk of those 3 games is beyond me, because the talk was he was in there for he's more physical than Shankland, who's the other striker who I've never seen play, to be honest, beyond the tournament.
He looked a lot better, didn't he, in that small cameo that he had?
Yeah, he looked way better. And Adams got bullied off the ball all game against Germany. He made Rudiger and Tyler look really good when actually possibly they're not as good as we thought. And just the ball would not stick to him. I can't remember a shot he had. I don't understand why they weren't looking at Shankland much earlier. Well, just literally...
To be fair. To be fair. Rudiger and Tar have had amazing seasons this season.
They're absolute monsters. And they're absolute monsters, but he was offering no physicality to them at all. And, maybe Shankland's not physical either, I don't know. but why not use McFellaini?
He was brighter. He looked like he had more of a dangerous edge to him than Che Adams did in just a small little bit of time he comes on. And for me, that's a player that you should be looking at as potentially a future striker, you know, because he looks as if he's got an eye for goal, even though we didn't see him really get a chance. But he looked more threatening. That could be because we opened up a little bit at that point as well. But I really just don't know what our game plan was. It was like, we didn't score a single goal, if you think about it, because the 2 goals that we did score were both own goals. So not once did we even score a goal in this tournament. And yet the manager, Steve Clark's going on about, well, in the last Euros, we only scored 1 goal. At least this time we scored 2. That's progress, but we need to score more. Like, you literally didn't, even though you get 2 own goals. So, you know, it's pathetic how negative we are, really. And if you're going to be that negative and scared and frightened of everybody, you deserve to lose games and you deserve to go home early. Because quite honestly, who wants to see a Scotland team playing like that?
I'm not being funny,
in the competition.
Own goals is the top goal scorer of the competition.
There's been a lot. Yeah, been a lot this tournament.
There's been about 7 or something, hasn't
there? Yeah. I don't necessarily. If we did go through, we would just sit back and try and get to penalties with whoever we played in the next round, and I don't think that's exciting.
Yeah, I think as well, it's a similar problem to what England suffer with a lot. Is that you're trying to get all of your good players into the one side, and a lot of your good players are more defensively minded. So you've got Robertson and Tierney, who are both left backs. You've got McTominay. You've got Fine McGinn is a bit more creative, but Billy Gilmore is a defensive midfielder, and you're just sort of flogging everything up by trying to shove them all into the same team, and it just really there's no flow to it at all. But you think how much sort of life and joy the Scottish fans have shown in Germany, and you get absolutely none of that from the team, and that's really disappointing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when you look at it that way, as Kel mentioned there, he looked up that there's been 6 own goals so far in this tournament.
But the group stage is crazy.
Own goals is having an excellent tournament, but Romelu Lukaku without VAR is really hot on its heels. He's had 3 goals disallowed. 3 goals disallowed from VAR, and personally, I hope he keeps that up because
2 offsides and a handball.
Were they not all genuine? Like,
they're all legitimately. They're all legitimate, but they're all like by the finest of margins. And if VAR was the thing, they would be given 100%.
The third one, you're just so close. You couldn't get any closer without being onside. It was literally, if you didn't have a size 14 shoe, you would have been onside.
It's an interesting thing because Belgium started so poorly, and it's like it's lit a fire underneath them, and they come out in the next game absolutely buzzing. But it'll be interesting to see if they can actually keep that form going and qualify, and and get through and do something in the next stage. But honestly, I'm not. I don't think that much of them so far.
Yeah, it can take teams a bit of time to warm up.
I do think they've shown some good attacking play. It's just that little bit of
the margins, the small margins.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. That's the difference between winning, losing, or drawing.
I guess that's true of any football, really. Any other, before we go on to your mob, any kind of other games that have stand out, teams that have stand out at the moment in terms of poor performances or great performances?
I think Austria.
It's all mashed into one.
Austria stand out.
Yeah.
They're proper. They were sort of my dark horse before the tournament, but they are properly looking like they might, reach a surprise semi-final or something like that.
I mean, do you think they'll really be that good when we get to the knockout stages? Yeah, do you think they're that good a team, or do you think this is just that there's always one team that's just super well organised, not expected to do much, and causes a right ruckus in the group stages, then they get to the knockout phases and they get knocked straight out?
Austria have been good for a while, haven't they? We've only lost like 2 games in
they're on a really good run, and the way they play, if they come up against one of the big guns, and I'm worried about it from England because England have a decent chance of coming up against them in the next round, going, oh, it's just Austria, they're going to get their pants pulled down fairly quickly, and it might be hard to recover if you're losing another goal to them. Just they're very intense, they're very high pressing, and it leaves them open at the back. But if you can't get through it, then it's difficult.
The next question was going to be, who are they maybe going to play next? So England's a possibility. Who else are possibilities?
England's a possibility if we finish second in the group.
No, so if we top the group, we play the third place team from that group, and that's basically whoever loses out of Netherlands and Austria tomorrow as well.
Gotcha. So who would you rather play, Netherlands than Austria?
See, I think Austria would
probably.
Well, no, I think Austria would embarrass us. I think Netherlands suffer from a lot of the same problems we do.
So I don't think
I think we could be. Netherlands on paper are a more difficult side, but I've not been impressed with them, and I think they've got a lot of the issues we do, and I think we could nick a 1-0 against them. Austria will come out the traps.
Because I don't think this Netherlands team's that good, really. It's not.
There's no saying that it couldn't be France.
Camps and Overmars are in here. There's no Van Basten. There's no Hullets. Even Frankie de Jong's not even.
The thing is, though, that group is finely poised.
Except Poland are already out. They're not going to beat France.
Poland are out. Yeah, but
they're not going to beat France.
You've got Netherlands top on 4, France second on 4, and Austria third on 3.
Yeah,
so
whoever
could be
doesn't get second though is guaranteed to get one of the third place through though, pretty much, because they're already in 4 points. So you would imagine all 3 are getting through into the qualifiers anyway.
There's no way France don't beat Poland, so it's a second place. It's a shootout between Netherlands and Austria, I reckon.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, I just feel
Mbappe will be back.
Yeah,
it should be. It was only supposed to be one game I was out for.
It was you played it behind the closed doors game, didn't they? They played it behind. I
don't think he'll start. I think they might bring him on for half an hour just so he can get used to playing in the mask properly. But I don't think he'll start.
Have you seen the mask? I'm saying he's it's just like a French flag on it or something.
No, he's not allowed that one.
He's not allowed to.
He's not allowed that one.
It black.
Nah, it's got to be basically one colour.
Why did he not paint it blue or orange? That's what an idiot, man. Honestly, he obviously doesn't like the turtles. I mean,
you should have it blue because the French play in blue, so you should have it blue.
I mean,
and then everyone's happy.
I mean, why not?
True.
And then we'll call him Leonardo. Yeah. So on to kind of yourselves then, England.
Don't have to.
You obviously were at the game, Ryan, and I think if Kel can do the jiggery pokery at the end of this episode, we'll also have a little bit of a travel log from you as well, which will show some of your footage that you took yourself when you were at the stadium watching England versus Denmark. However, it was not exactly a very exciting game that you went to see in terms of an England performance, was it?
No. It was very frustrating in the ground. Where I was sat, it was a mix of English and Danish fans and a bunch of Germans, but everyone was very frustrated with England's mentality in terms of just very safe passing, taking a lot of time on the ball, refusing to try and break the lines as soon as they went 1-0 up. And even before 1-0, we really struggled to sort of get hold of the game. The 1-0 came pretty much against the run-up play, I would have said. But then full time, you had the Danish fans all bouncing. There was a big bank of Danish fans behind one goal, all wearing red. It was quite impressive, and they're all bouncing, and the team goes over and sort of applauds them, and it was a party atmosphere for a really dull 1-1. All the English fans just sort of file out a bit miserable.
Definitely I don't think, isn't it?
It is. It is. But
for Denmark.
I also think
it's the mentality as well.
I also think England have been fairly uninspiring in how they play, but equally, it's sort of viewing sort of the England fans in person. It's almost sort of the team that we deserve, because we get fired up for 3 Lions or Vindaloo coming on over the PA, But apart from that, everyone's just sort of having a chat. Everyone's in a different coloured shirt. There's no sort of, you see the videos of the Dutch and it's just the entire city is orange and the Scots in all their kilts. There's no sort of homogenous, let's get behind the team. Everyone's just sort of going for a jolly and a piss up. And
because all the nutters are banned from all the previous tournaments. They're not allowed to go up.
But no, but there's no sort of, there was no sort of positive energy. There was no sort of positive energy coming from the England fans, I didn't think. Sang the anthem loudly, but then after that, the only noise we made was a half-hearted second go at the national anthem on about.
So it's just a bunch of Liverpool fans. Is that what you're saying?
Singing at the beginning of the game. Well, without the national anthem.
Yeah. I mean, it is very much watching England at the moment is very much like being a United fan in that there's some good players on the pitch. They can't play well together. You can see that it can be better, but you can't really envisage it, and there's just very little energy being fed off from the crowd, and yeah, it was a bit disappointing, and I can see why England struggle at tournaments because that sort of support is not there. I don't think there were loads of English people in Frankfurt, and they were all singing songs, but it's just not the wholesome, positive, my country's going to do great energy that everybody else.
I'm not surprised though when we get served up the dross we have done over the last 2 games.
Yeah, but it's sort of one feeds from the other as well. I think the players need that spark to push. The players need the spark to make the extra push, and I think the fans need something to cheer for.
Everybody praises them as being the best at every tournament they go to, and it's a shame to see them go home early, but it doesn't help players in any way to perform. Never has.
Yeah, the fans don't dictate how they play, and the fans are just speeding up what the players are doing as well on the pitch.
Yeah. I just think there was an energy that the Danish fans had that I think the players fed off that just wasn't there from an England perspective. And it's obviously it's not the only problem it's not the only problem with England, but it is very much a sort of we were just too quiet and polite.
Atmosphere and that's how the team plays as well, though. Most of those guys have been playing together in the national team. They're all the same for the last 6 or 7 years because it's a very small population and it's the same people that get picked all the time. So it almost becomes like a club atmosphere when they go abroad, when they go on tour with their national team. It's like seeing all their friends again. They all play in different countries and that's almost like them coming back home. That's not really the case with England. It never has been. Most of the players play in the Premier League and don't particularly like each other that much if you go by the rumours of history. I think that may be slightly different now, but it was
that was back in our golden generation, that with the likes of Gerrard and Scholes and Lampard and
that aspect has
because
been
they're all
under Southgate
against each other all the time every week,
But I mean, like with the Danish, the Danish players are giving the fans something to get behind them for because they're fighting.
No, they weren't that good. I'm sorry, they were first to the ball maybe, but they were they weren't even good in that game.
That's part of it. Did they win?
No, they drew
that game. Did they draw? I can't remember. It's all mashed up into one now.
It was very much like England. They went 1-0 up and then let Slovenia into it, and Slovenia equalised.
Yeah, very uninspiring in the first game.
But what I would say is the Danish fans clearly, the Danish fans clearly just gave more of a shit, and that led to the players giving that little bit more of a shit. And
anyway,
it's not the only issue, but I just that was an observation I had being at the ground.
Yeah, I was going to say because we could focus too much on that and not enough on the actual performance of the team and what's wrong. Because you guys have been quite vocal about what, and I know they're saying this in the media. There's 15 million managers out there suddenly for England every tournament. Yes, it's the same for every country. It's just, every Scotland fan as well has got an opinion of who should be picked and that person shouldn't play there, they shouldn't play this system, etc., etc. That's just part of being a football fan. So you guys have been quite vocal about it. So what's wrong with the performance? Be the England armchair managers for a minute and give your opinions.
Yeah.
It's too disjointed. That just doesn't work, the players he's putting in the formation.
Yeah. It feels like you can't link the midfield up to the attack. I think there's too big a gap. We're not pressing together.
There's nobody running in behind. Kane's up there. There's nobody getting beyond him for any flick-ons or anything. And Kane's dropping too deep to get the ball because we're not getting it up there quick enough for him. It's not good enough, really. He needs to change it. The players need to change.
Even beyond the formation and who's playing where, it is a bravery thing. It's a mentality thing. There is just no impetus to stretch a game from them at the minute, and there's no impetus to take a risk. There's so many times in that game where it was sideways passing along the back four. It was Jordan Pickford gets a goal kick or he gets a free kick and he spends 5 minutes lining it up and then just hoofs it out. Whereas we've got players who can, Pickford in particular, who can pick out a pass, who can split a defence, who can run in behind, and there's just no inclination from anyone to actually do any of that. So it doesn't really matter who we have on the pitch. If they are being told to look after the ball first and not make a mistake, they're not going to get far in the tournament, because the best sides in this tournament have been the ones who play on the front foot and have been the ones who play the early pass, try and beat the man, try and put a cross in.
There's only one player getting
There's
chalk on
a
his
lot of
boots.
teams have pressed. On you go, sorry.
There's only one player really getting chalk on his boots, and that's Saka.
Yeah.
Stretching it.
But even
he's
him,
on that left to do that.
Ball's not coming out.
I don't think Saka's far up enough, because he's almost playing. He's at one side and Trippier is at the other side, so he's playing in the same line almost as the left back, and that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
to
because
me,
he has to, because there's nobody on the left wing.
The issue with Saka is, because of how we're playing, we're not getting the ball to him in the right way. We're booming him up from Pickford, and it's either going to Saka and he gets out-muscled quite easily, or Kane flicks it on and Saka can't get to it. We're not playing it on the ground enough to play him in behind, and you know, he can't make a sort of impact there. He's got to find himself miles of space so he can actually build up a head of steam, rather than making a run and knowing that the ball's going to get to him.
Well, I personally would drop Walker, put Trent at right back, play Bellingham alongside Rice, drop Foden, put Palmer in 10, and play Gordon out left. And obviously Shaw's going to come in at left back because Trippier's now nursing a cough.
Well, Southgate said that everybody is fit for the game except Shaw. So
Shaw's
not expected to feature in the next game.
Shaw's been training today.
Tomorrow. But he's not saying that Trippier is injured in any way whatsoever. And
it'll be Gomez. Tonight. I think that'll take his place.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the brave thing to do would be to put Trent there, because I think we all agree that Trent needs to come inside from fullback and play those passes, but still offer a bit. You know, we need a proper midfield in there to offer a bit more stability. I don't think Walker's been that bad. So you don't sacrifice that. You have Trent on the left, and he can come in a lot more then and start playing balls a bit more, and he can also overlap with whoever gets put on the left wing.
We know that he's not going to drop Foden, but he should. He should.
Yeah. Foden, I mean, there was a chance in the first half, and it was right in line with where I was sat, where Foden does brilliantly to beat 3 or 4 guys, wriggles past him, and Kane is making this beautiful arch run, and he's there for a good 4 or 5 seconds. Easy, you're playing FIFA, you press Y, bang, it's a goal. And he just decides to keep it and blaze over the bar himself, and that sort of sums up his tournament a little bit.
See, when a player is so good as Foden is, because I think we all agree that the guy is a little bit special, you know, and there's not a lot of players as good as him in the world. Is it not more important that the manager, instead of just dropping him, saying, well, can't work out where to play you, dropped, he doesn't just try and find them in a position where he can feel influenced in the game?
It could be a fact of
Bellingham back a little bit more, or be brave and say, you two there and Declan Rice, you just sit as the 6. You can't run forward. We'll go with a single pivot, you know?
Why not? You know, the whole issue is trying to force him and Bellingham into the same team. Why not play one of them? And when it's not working, like Bellingham didn't work, you go, right, have Foden instead. And that gives the other team something else to think about. And, you know, but instead,
if you don't win, they'll still be criticised because he couldn't play them both, you know. And if this was Spain, if Spain were playing with, and they had exactly the same squad England have, you would have had like 5 attackers there. You would have had Foden and Bellingham sitting as like both number 10/8s, then you would have had 2 wide men and the striker up front as well, and they would have just sat a Rodri or a Declan Rice at the back, and they would have said, "You're out here to play football. You defend against us."
And that's what we've been saying the whole time, isn't it? But it's just But I think it just sort of ties in just with sort of an English mentality. It's just a bit too sort of stale for all that, to be honest.
I'm thinking, is it a bit of a fatigue problem with Foden? Because he's played a lot of games when De Bruyne has been injured, and then you've seen it towards the end of the season, FA Cup final, his performances started to dip, and they haven't gone back up to the way he was.
I don't buy that, to be honest, because he's still really young, and there's players older than him who've played as many games who are still going.
This is the most games he's ever played in one season, though, since he became a pro. Though, because he's had a lot more rests in previous years, and sometimes that's about your stamina that builds up over the years if you play every game. But, like Bruno couldn't manage every game for us in his first season, and last year he missed 1 game. I
mean, Bruno Fernandes has come off the back of he's played 60 games a season for the last 3-4 seasons, and he's still at the heart of everything Portugal do.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah, but he's been doing that for the last 3-4 seasons. This is the first season Foden's done that.
Maybe.
I don't know.
There is a bit of fatigue there, and that's not his fault. That's how his managers have been playing him, how they've built him up, as well. So I'm sure he would have played every game if he could, but he wasn't.
I find it odd that we're the only countries sort of having that issue at the minute. Nobody's saying the Germans look tired. Nobody's saying the French look tired.
No, I'm not saying the whole team looked
there
tired.
Also could be an element.
Could have been.
Look at how the worst season for tiredness out of them all is the Premier League. Most of your players playing the Premier League.
We don't have a Christmas break either.
Not a proper one like the other countries do. You play one more cup than almost every country, or every big country anyway. Like Spain, Italy, they don't have a second cup, so that's extra games for you as well. And some of them don't even have full 20-team leagues, really. So they have less games to play anyway. There definitely could be an argument that there's something there, because you tend to look tired at most tournaments. To be honest, it tends to be when you turn up for tournaments, you just look a bit. The players didn't perform well, and then you have a few bad performances. It's very rare that you.
I just think it needs a shuffle.
Look at the history.
It needs a shuffle.
There's rumours that Gallagher's going to be taking the place of Trent in midfield, which I don't think is the go-to for this game.
I just think at this point there is nothing really to be lost by them just
going for it,
not giving a fuck, because they're going to get slated if they keep playing like this and shuffle out at the round of 16. If they lose the next game 4-3, at least we've had a go, and at least we've been a bit entertained by it.
Yeah.
Unless we're 4-0 up. Yeah, 3-0 up and we lose 4-3.
Well, as a Chelsea fan, I'm used to this.
But that's fine. We can sit back and do all the passing around the box at 3-0, but we're doing it at 1-0 20 minutes into the game.
Yeah, exactly.
And you should be. All of the other top teams are taking an early lead and looking to capitalise on it. And we're just refusing to do that, and that's the frustrating thing, because we should be able to do that.
Strange about Southgate is that this is probably his last tournament, no matter what happens, unless he wins it, which doesn't seem likely. So he's kind of intimated that as well. So he doesn't really have any if I do, why not? Surely this is the time to just go fuck it, and I'll be brave, and I'm just going to go attacking and have a go at this.
I think it's the opposite. I think he's playing it too safe.
Protect his legacy,
which is really weird, because before the tournament we were all saying how sort of bold and attacking the squad choice was, and he's just not.
Yeah, he's not
playing into that at all.
Especially since he's used the same team twice in a row and the same subs.
I did think.
Yeah, it doesn't seem as if Gordon or Hammer are particularly on his radar. Does it?
They were the choices you'd make.
I did think it was a bold call to. On 60 minutes, sub the entire front three, including Harry Kane, who'd got a goal. So I think that is maybe a sign that he's willing to change it up, and it didn't really.
It's a strange choice.
Work on the day. It didn't really work on the day. I think Eze just basically performed an even lesser role of what Phil Foden offered. You know, we needed the pace, but even then,
wants to cut in on his right foot all the time. But
Jared
Gordon does a
Bowen,
lot of it as well.
This is why I say it's sort of a mentality thing, and it doesn't really matter who's on the pitch. Jared Bowen was hugging the touchline the entire match. Ball would come out to him way too late, but it would come out to him, and he would just, rather than get on his bike and go past his fullback, who he had a 10-meter head start on, he'd just stand there and pass it back to Kyle Walker. And it's, what's the point of having Jared Bowen on the pitch if he's not going to run at his fullback?
Exactly, yeah.
You know, that's the thing that he offers more than anyone else, and he's not. Either he's been told not to do it, or he's too scared to do it, and that's the issue.
You've got players that can beat players in 1-on-1, and yet no one seems to ever feel the courage to do that.
Yeah, but one of them sat on the bench the whole time.
I mean, several have sat on the bench all time, but you know, it's hard to argue with who he started with in the first game, though, in terms of the players in form and all that sort of stuff. To be fair, Mick, but yeah, I mean, you could argue that after the first game, he should have maybe made more changes in the second game, or different changes than the ones he already made in the first game. But you know, I don't think he'll change much. I think he'll just hope that they play better and that the system's better, and he'll make one or two slight changes and just try the same thing again.
He will just sit there and go, nah, but these got good players. I'll just play these again and hope it works. These are my mates.
Well, he just knows they're the best players on the teams they play for, so, you know, why wouldn't you put them all together?
I mean, it's not working. But you've got to find a way to make them work, though. Yeah.
But that's the thing. That's always been England's case, though, isn't it? When you think of it, look at central midfielders back in the day with Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes.
How many times Scholes didn't even get a game, or he didn't need to play on the left.
And he was one of the best English central midfielders going.
He just basically said, "No, fuck it, I'm not bothering anymore," because he kept getting shunted out of position. He just stopped trying to get picked.
Scholes, Lampard and Gerrard never worked together
in that position. No,
I did. You know, I did have this conversation online a little while ago, actually, because they were talking about the Euro 2014 and how it was a struggle getting everyone into there. If they were playing now and you put them into a modern 4-3-3, it might actually almost work. If you had a three of Scholes, Lampard, Gerrard, you'd have to tell. Yeah, but that could work with Beckham and Rooney down the wings and Owen down the middle. I could see that working in a modern setting.
Yeah, in the modern setting back then, it was always a 4-4-2, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, a variation on it anyway, some kind usually. But so, I mean, do you think that improvements will happen? You know, because you've been here before and then went on another good tournament, or do you think it's going to be one of these ones where you get through, but you don't really play any better, and you just get bombed out?
I think it's going to be that one.
I think we'll beat Slovenia and we'll top the group.
Yeah,
but we are going to get absolutely battered in the round of 16 unless we change the mentality quickly.
But who's to say that win against Slovenia might not give them a kick up the arse? We'll just have to wait and see.
Well, I mean, we're already sort of top. You know, we're already top of the group and look pretty good at staying top of the group. You know, it really depends on the manner of how we. You know, if we decide to take the handbrake off and we go put 3-4 plus Slovenia, fine, we might do something in the knockouts. But if we scrape a 1-0 against them and spend 60 minutes passing it around the back four, then it's we're done.
Well, guys, any final thoughts today before we kind of wrap up and then go on to show their viewers a little bit of the Ryan travel log?
I mean, all I'd say.
Sorry, go on, Ryan. I'm just going to say only another 3 hours and 15 minutes left of Bruno's release clause.
There hasn't been any big transfers this week, have there?
No, not really.
No, but thankfully Newcastle have pulled out of the deal for that. Calvert-Lewin. Thank God for that.
It was too expensive. Too expensive.
Yeah. I mean,
anything else from you guys before we go into the final segment?
Yeah. All I was going to say is sort of 2 hours of boring football aside, the whole sort of event around Frankfurt was really well organised. The trains are getting a lot of stick, and there were a lot of people moaning, but actually from leaving my seat in the ground to getting back in the city centre took about an hour. And yes, fine, we had to wait 10 minutes for a train, but it was absolutely fine.
10 times better than the UK then.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. And that train journey was about a 10-minute journey in normal times, but you can't get 50,000 people out of the same place without people standing around waiting for a little bit. So it was really well organised. The fan part was great. And the sort of volunteers on hand were really helpful and really friendly as well. So I think it's been a well organised tournament from that perspective.
Yeah,
the Germans always organise things well.
Yeah.
They've always been good at that. That's there's
a lot of talk that the German trains are failing, but I didn't really see any of that in Frankfurt. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, the next thing or the last thing for us to bring up would be our predictions as well for next week. So I'll let Kel just put the images up on screen at the moment so everybody can see what we have predicted for the next round of games. You will find that Kel and I have 2 gaps missing. That's the games that happened last night, just because of the way that the fixture list works.
I don't think any of us really made ground anyway with it. Like, who predicted
my dad did.
Switzerland and Germany?
Draw. Well, yeah, I think my dad got 17 points off one of those 2 games, and that's why he's in second now.
Yeah, but was that not because he was using different?
Well, yeah, he was using little bonuses. Yeah, he went for
cheating.
He went for 1-1 Switzerland versus Germany, and he went for the first team to score being Switzerland. And because nobody else predicted that, he got an extra 5 points as well.
You can do that?
Yeah. This is how he's caught up. He's been doing that for every game, and he's had quite a few.
Wait, we're not going to do that. We're just doing simple.
He's been disqualified.
No. He's disqualified now for
so because he doesn't watch football. So Kyle's disqualified.
What I would say is, if my dad doesn't leave a comment on this video, to the effect of what we said at the 30-minute mark, he's disqualified because it's for viewers of the podcast only. And what I would also say is, for whoever does win the Predictions League, I would like to offer up this special commemorative pint glass from the stadium.
That looked like a half glass with half a stage.
Yeah, well, it's because an England fan bought it, so it's half empty.
No, I will make sure I sabotage myself from this point on.
So me and my dad have got about half a dozen of these because they made you pay a €3 deposit, and we couldn't be bothered taking the glasses back. So we've actually got about 3 pints worth of cups that we took home with us. So
good.
Whoever wins can have a cup.
Well, there you go. I mean, with prizes like that, I mean, you know, what other shows are you going to find prizes like that on? Just bear in mind that, Ryan, you'll be subject to the postage costs to outer Siberia, where one of our fans actually does.
Okay, cool. I can expense that to Kyle, can't I?
Yeah. Well, I guess that's it, folks. Hopefully, stay with us a little bit longer, and you can see a little bit of footage of Ryan going to the game, Denmark versus England. A little bit of the stadium, some of the atmosphere, and a few words from Ryan as well.
Guten Abend. Und herzlich willkommen bei Schau dir mehr Fußball an. So, slight video blog for Watch More Football for England versus Denmark. I'm at the Frankfurt Arena. So, different to the English stadiums I've been to, the turnstiles were outside the ground, which I thought was a nice touch. It's less claustrophobic, still good. And then the concourses, fairly open as well. You got the Danish fans arriving here. And we've got some good seats. We're right next to the commentary gantry. I've just snapped a pic of Alan Shearer, and I'm looking forward to the match. Come on, England! Here's the Danish players coming out in beige suits, getting booed by the England fans. Although the Danish fans are quite happy over there. We've got Christian Eriksen there. I think that's Rasmus Højlund in the middle. Not long to kick off now.
other than that, just once again, remember, you're watching us in the Genreverse Sports YouTube channel, but please also check out the main Genreverse YouTube channel while you're on there as well. You will find out a lot of interesting things to look at. Other than that, thanks very much and see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Comment, like, subscribe.